Hi, I'm Sarah. Join me and nerd out over plants with me on the high seas. I'm on a ship, and this is Central Park. Welcome to Mission Propagation, and we're in the field, or in the high seas, more like it. This boat is Royal Caribbean Harmony of the Seas, and it is a part of the Oasis-Class ships. These are the ships that are known for having a central park. And Harmony Central Park features about 12,000 live plants and trees, and it had this open air garden right in the middle of the ship, and it was gorgeous. I loved it. I saw a lot of orchids, and I think I saw at least 3 or 4 different types of croton. We saw lots of pothos, and I was able to talk to 2 of the horticulturists. I went to guest services on the ship, and I asked if they have a garden tour, and they don't. But they were kind enough to let me know when I could meet the horticulturist, and they let the horticulturist know that I may be stopping by to talk planty stuff with them. And I did. I met 2 horticulturists, Maria and Maui, and they were very talkative, and they were working, so I didn't want to bother them too much. But I did talk to them for about 5 minutes, and I asked them, what are your favorite plants to work with? Maui, one of the horticulturists, told me that her favorite is pothos because they're so easy, and I couldn't have agreed with her more. I love pothos. And then the other horticulturist, Maria, she said that her favorite was this shrub that you can see now. It's flowering. I will put what the name of that shrub is on the screen. But it was nice to just stop and talk to them, and I could tell that they really enjoyed their job. So if you're ever on a Royal Caribbean ship that is in the Oasis class, they do have horticulturists, and if you go to guest services and ask, they will talk to you and just show you some of the plants that they work with. The horticulturist did describe to me that the plants are kind of on a grid system, and they're all in planter boxes with a drip system, which makes their life much easier. They were in the garden every day from 8 to 11, and then the sidewalks were pressure washed. I think it was around 5 or 6 every day. It was really busy during the day, and it was really loud, so that's why there's no sound. But I do have a video where I filmed at 6 in the morning, and they do have sound simulations of crickets and birds. So you do feel like you're in a botanical wonder, and that was really cool. It was a nice little detail that they added. I also noticed that after we went to Mexico, we ended up having 2 stowaway birds. And so that was cool to have little birds flying around. And on the last day, I saw an orange butterfly, and it was too late in the cruise to be able to go and talk to the horticulturist at that point. But I did wonder if they release beneficials, and if they have butterflies and ladybugs and things like that to just help add to the botanical experience for the passengers, and also to help keep down the pest population, because I would imagine they don't use harsh chemicals because there's people walking through this at all times, and it's in the center of the ship. So even though there is ventilation from above, and then they did have fans all around, so as you can see that the plants are moving, I would think that they would not be using harsh chemicals. This was a bougainvillea trellis, and then it had pothos on the side, and it was just gorgeous. It was a gorgeous setup. I think the bougainvillea was a nice vibrant purple pink. And then this is one of the live walls with the golden pothos, and there were staghorn ferns. And I just love staghorn ferns right now. And the basil fronds are really nice. And they weren't huge, but it was a nice living wall. There was also some Tradescanthia. I even found a neon pothos in the mix of all these pothos. It was just very beautiful, very green. And I can honestly say that usually when I go out of town or on vacation, I miss my plants so much. And this time, I think because I could walk through the garden every day, I didn't miss my plants the same way I usually do. There was lots of dracaenas. I feel like there was maybe 4 or 5 types of dracaenas. They were just really gorgeous. There's that plant wall. I had some friends that were staying right beside the plant wall in Central Park. I think that those rooms with the balcony over Central Park would be a really nice experience for a planty person. And here's some more pothos. And just that living wall was really nice. And you can see that they did have extra grow lights on them to make sure, because this was an area that was kind of shaded. The park had a lot of pockets where you could sit and read or drink a beverage, whatever is your choice. People are on cruises, so they like all kinds of stuff. And it was a nice relaxing place. I actually sat in this spot and drank some hot tea in the morning. And that's when I saw the orange butterfly. And I was like, what in the world? Am I seeing things? I actually jumped up to go and record the butterfly because I thought, everybody needs to see there's a butterfly. And it was a huge one. And I got up to chase a butterfly like a crazy person. And everyone around me was looking at their phones. And I was so I couldn't even ask anybody, did you see where that butterfly went? Yeah. It just reminded me oh, Sarah, please don't just stare at your phone. Look up. See the beauty of creation. Get immersed in the green. Give your brain a little vacation. There was some philodendrons, and this is the only philodendrons that I saw. There was a lot of them. They were very healthy, but that was the only type that I saw. And I believe these are the philodendron Rojo Congo, or Congo Rojo. I don't know which word goes first, but they were beautiful specimens, and that was the only type of philodendron I saw in the entire Central Park area. But you can see how the understory plants were so lush and beautiful. And I just loved how they grouped the different plants together. There was a lot of Phalaenopsis, and I loved to see how the roots were growing up the very mature shade trees. And wow, just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. These are shrimp plants. We actually have these in my area, and I believe that's what they're called. That's what I've seen them called. I'm sure the botanical name is much more complicated and sounds cooler, but I do like those flowers. There's another angle of the mature plants and the balconies that overlook the Central Park. There were light posts, and they had white bougainvillea growing up the light post, and you could see that some of the leaves had been scorched. There is quite a large temperature swing from probably Galveston, where we were at port, and then going to Cozumel and Honduras. It was probably in the 80s, but when we got back to Galveston, it was in the 30s. So that's a big temperature swing for tropical plants. And I think that some of the plants probably are getting directly hit by the sun during certain times of the day, probably by noon to 3, when the sun is high in the sky. And I could see the scorching on some of the leaves and even some of the crotons. There's some Sansevieria, and I think there was 2 different types on the ship, as you can see there. the two different variegations. The peace lilies were blooming. They're very beautiful. I have killed quite a few peace lilies in my day, but I would get another peace lily if I found a variegated one. I think they're beautiful. I think that these red sunglasses, they're so cute, and you'll see a front angle in a moment, but I think that they must be there for the next holidays. I guess that would be Valentine's. The Buddhist pine, look at that, it's so pretty. And then here is some alocasia. The leaves are really huge. I should have put my hand next to the leaves so you could see how grandiose they were. And that was the only kind of alocasia that I saw also. It was just one type. There's the front of those glasses. Nice little photo op there. I found a little baby Aglaonema. It was all by itself. I guess they had big plans for it and it didn't grow. The Chinese evergreen, that was the only type of Chinese evergreen I saw everywhere, and they were flowering, so they were very happy. And you can see that this is very well ventilated. And also when people would come in and out of the park, I think the air of the doors opening and closing probably helped with that ventilation. I did see mealybugs in one little area, but for the most part, I can tell they really take care. These horticulturists know what they're doing. I like that little puff of flowers. More sansevieria, more little shrimp plants. This glass enclosure is actually a bar that rises and lowers in the evening. I haven't had a chance to be in that area. I'm actually one of those people that did not get the drink package because it like doubles the price. Here's another Phalaenopsis. Yeah, so I do enjoy going on cruises, and I like to go in the least expensive way I possibly can. Oh, and here, let's normalize weeds on a cruise ship. They're even dealing with it. And you can see the grid system and the drip system, and look at those gorgeous, healthy heaps of moss. This is how loud it sounded during the day. I wanted to let you just have a little sample so you could hear why I'm doing a voiceover, and this is at nighttime.
Royal Caribbean.
Oh wait, no, this is during the morning.
Harmony of the Seas, and it is 6 o'clock in the morning, and there's nobody here, so we have it all to ourselves.
I'm talking really quietly because I don't want the people in Central Park to hear me. I don't want to wake them up.
They have cricket sounds, and sometimes you can hear bird sounds. I'm not sure if they're artificial or if they're real, but I'm imagining that the sounds are artificial.
They were definitely artificial.
Look at that pothos growing up that tree. So in here they have a lot of Chinese evergreen. Lots of philodendron. Bird of paradise. Look at those, are really tall. They're going to be able to get really tall.
Okay, from here on out, I'll go ahead and do a voiceover because I think you were able to hear those gorgeous nature sounds that they simulated. It did look a lot different early in the morning, and it was nice to have the garden to myself. They had just power washed the sidewalks, and I was hoping to find the horticulturist and talk to them, but that's before I knew that they didn't work until 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. every day. And it was an everyday job for them. The horticulturist, there are 4, so I only talked to 2 of them, but they did explain to me that Harmony of the Seas is returning to Spain in May 2026, where it'll be dry docked for a couple of months. And they are going to take out all the plants and replace them. And then the ship will be departing from Barcelona, and it'll spend a large part of the summer in the Western Mediterranean, which begins in Spain. And it made me wonder, and I wish I would have asked them, if that means that they will have a different variety of plants. since they're removing them all. I would think that the Mediterranean would have a great selection of botanicals that would make this park just shine and look just as gorgeous as it does with the tropical plants. So this boat, Harmony of the Seas, it will be in the Western Mediterranean, but it will have a repositioning voyage, and it will return to Port Canaveral, Florida in late 2026. And I think it starts in October, and from then on, they'll be going out of Port Canaveral. And so I wonder if they'll change the plants out again, or it's going to be like a Mediterranean style botanical garden, which would be beautiful to see. It gets really dark because it is 6 o'clock in the morning, so I apologize but the lighting of the garden was really nice. This is the bar. It's really, really beautiful, and see all the seating, and there's like a wall of Dracaenas. There was an Italian restaurant, and then there was a place called Park Cafe where you could have like breakfast and lunch, and it was soup and salad. And I really liked that place because I'm gluten-free, and it was the only place on the ship that I could get a gluten-free bagel. And you can see the live walls at nighttime and see how it like kind of glows in the distance. This is that same bougainvillea trellis or walkway, and it's just lit up and glows and showing off the staghorn ferns at night. I was really impressed by this botanical garden. I was really impressed by the cruise. They do have a lot of amenities. I am someone who likes to just chill out in their room and hang out on the balcony. I usually do work because I do work from home, so I'm able to work when I'm on vacation, which I know is not the greatest thing, but I can usually do a couple of half days because the internet's pretty good, and I like to paint, and I have like embroidery, and I'm really into a lot of the grandma core crafts. I've always been that way. But it was a really beautiful experience, and if you ever want to look into one of the Oasis ships, it is really neat. Every day I went and checked out this garden. Cruises can be very expensive, but there are certain websites you can go to where you can see good last minute deals, or you can plan ahead like a year in advance and like pay monthly. And that's actually what I did for this cruise. I do have to admit, I did treat myself to the spa, which is something I have never done on a cruise, and I've taken about 10 at this point in my life. And y'all, I bought the cruise ship vitamins, and I don't make cruise ship vitamin money. I got home and I was like, why did I do that? Anyway, the reviews were good, but it was out of my budget, and I should not have done that. So from here on out, I think I'm heading back to my room, which I was on the 8th floor, which is where all the Central Parks are. They're all on the 8th floor. And thank you for watching, and enjoy all the planty things, y'all. I'll catch you on my next video. Have a great day. Bye.